Hey everybody, welcome back. We're going back to an old favorite, Dungeon Meshi, episodes 13 through, what is it?
I think we went to 18. At least that's what
13 through 18.
Yeah, because I remember I wanted to keep going.
I think we ended on a good cliffhanger. Oh, I should probably say, hey, I'm AlleeCat. This is my co-host Chris.
I eat glue.
And as usual when we do Dungeon Meshi, our guest Orion.
Hello, everybody.
So yeah, I think we ended on a good cliffhanger, introducing the best character.
I don't know anything about that character, so I can't speak one way or the other.
I don't. We talking about Kabru?
No,
Nope.
the one who stayed behind whenever whenever Shu's party left, they're like, oh, one person is missing, and that person was the one that they'd all been mean to beforehand, but the one who like has the super hearing that heard the conversation between Laios and Shu about what really happened with
The cat person.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now I remember. Yep.
She's the best character.
I sense a little bias.
Yeah, it's just a touch of bias. That episode there were so many twists and turns in that episode, in episode 18.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's at the beginning, whenever they're trying to make their way through the I think it was like a fog or something they were trying to make their way through, or mist,
Mm-hmm.
or was it a storm? I can't remember. There was some kind of thing blocking their vision, and they're like, hold hands, and then you see someone grab Marcel's hand. You're like, who that?
Who's that?
Yeah, and yeah, then the whole thing with the who done it, who is real.
Yeah, and it's funny because, like, we can tell who most of the doppelgangers are.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe you could tell, but like there was a moment there where I was looking at him like, shit, I do not remember fine details on people very well. And these last couple ones, I'm like, I don't know who the fuck's the real one. I like that.
Yeah,
I like
I think
the one Senshi was more handsome. That was the problem.
Yeah, I could recognize like everybody except the Marcel doppelganger, I think.
Oh yeah, the only difference being that how their hair was done.
Yeah.
And that one of them knew that she'd eaten the fishman eggs.
Yeah. Like, oh. Whoops.
And she's like, yeah, didn't you say, like, she said that? Wouldn't that be a dead giveaway? We've never done that. Everyone's like, ooh, about that.
Ooh.
I think there was an early. Weirdly enough, episode 18 is the thing I wrote about the least, but I do remember that whole doppelganger thing pretty well. I've got like one note per episode here, weirdly enough. It's just one thing that stood out. And I gotta say, just going backwards from here, fucking episode 17 and what's his name's whole conversation with the Japanese samurai guy.
Shuro?
Yeah. Shuro and the main guy that eats monsters. I need the right names then.
Laos.
Yeah. That he is 100% autistic. Like you said he would be if he was beforehand, and I was like, yeah, I guess I can kind of see it. No, that whole conversation, everything about it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, no, this is like where a lot of people get the like, oh, this is really good autistic representation from, because like a lot of people are just pissed off with Laios all the time because he doesn't understand social cues.
Yeah, I put that in my notes. Laios is far too autistic for Shu's neurotypical signals to get through.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like, it's very realistic to the autistic experience because like Laos has no idea that Shuro gets pissed off with him all the time. And Shuro's like, I've been sending you hints. I've been trying to tell you without telling you because that would be rude.
Doesn't work like that.
Yeah. But I also like how they go off and talk alone, and Laos is like, "Hey, here's a secret. We resurrected Fallon with black magic." And then immediately everyone else gets told because there's somebody listening in on the conversation who just tells everyone.
I'm just like, why the fuck would you tell them in the first place? That's one of those things you keep within the people that already know, and you just like don't say anything after that. But I guess that comes back to the whole social cues thing. I love that.
Yeah, well, I think he trusted Shuro and thought, oh, he's not going to tell anybody.
He did, but at the same time, you're dealing with something that's like, oh, if anyone finds out, they're gonna murder you. It's like, okay, well, at that point, maybe just err on the side of caution. But once again, Laios. So,
yep,
Yeah.
it's Laios.
I love that. Oh man, the thief kid. He's not a kid. He was like an old man.
Chochuk?
Chochuk, yep. I love that after that conversation, he was like, why didn't I go with Laios? Senshi was fine. I should have gone with Laios.
Yeah. Then there's the whole thing with the interactions with Kabru, the one from the other party. And like,
yeah, Kabru's kind of insane.
Yeah.
I think he's an audience surrogate. To a point. Obviously, we're not all crazy people.
To a point.
But,
but he's also like a sociopath.
Guys over here like, yeah, I'll do anything to be your friend. Yeah, sure, I'll eat this fucking monster. Sure, okay, let's go. All right, I'm doing it.
And like, I think he completely missed his calling. He should have been a detective because like that's literally all he does. A spy, yeah, a spy would work too.
I can't believe they didn't just tell them about the bugs and the food being rotten.
That would also require Laios to remember Kabru. Laios remembers the kobold before he remembers Kabru.
Laios remembers people like how I remember people. That's why the only person's name I can remember is Senshi.
I also feel bad for Marcel in episode 17 because, like, she kind of has this almost existential crisis as she sees things unraveling, right?
Yeah.
And she's just like, starts spiraling, like, this is all my fault because I did this. It's causing all of these repercussions. People are getting hurt. People are dying. Things are going wrong. Friendships are being broken. Everything's going wrong, and it's all my fault.
I sometimes I forget that people can just be resurrected when I'm watching, and I'm like, oh shit, people are dying. This is going to have permanent consequences. No, wait, they can just, they have magic.
They're still inside the dungeon.
Yeah.
I don't remember which episode it was, but the whole meeting I think it might have been 14. The one where they had the whole meeting with those guys that were like, oh, we're just going to kill you and have you revive so we can get paid.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I think that was 14 with the corpse collectors.
Yeah.
Yep.
Learning about that whole system and like how it's rife with abuse. I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes perfect fucking sense. I completely understand how this would happen. Especially because, like, at that point, yeah, you're a murderer, but it's like, well, I'm bringing them back, so really, I didn't murder anybody. So they got their whole logic loop thing there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Free money hack.
Yeah, that like infinite money thing. Though, episode 13, I think was really interesting to explore Chilchuck's like mentality and like character, because like he's episode 13, he's going through the whole thing where he's like, I don't want to lose my friends. If they keep going, they're going to get themselves killed. And at first he's like, I want to lie to them in order to get them to turn around and leave. And then like and the whole part where he talks about how he blames himself, where he's like, if I didn't agree to come save Fallon, would they have given up earlier? Would they not be in this situation? Would they have not gotten hurt if I hadn't helped them? Was I enabling their bad decisions? But then by the end, he had the character development where he's like, okay, I'm going to speak the truth. I'm going to tell you what the truth is. And I'm going to ask you as a friend and say, can we please not do this?
Yeah.
Was that the episode where they had the walls closing in on them and the ghosts like got them? Yeah, that I actually fucking turned that shit up to hear what that ghost said too, and he said there's no need to worry. I heard that shit.
Yep. Yeah, the ghosts were trying to help.
Mm-hmm.
Just a bunch of chill dead dudes.
I missed that part, but that's actually really interesting.
Yeah, the ghosts generally have been like saying stuff like, hey, I'm trying to help, or there's no need to worry, or that kind of stuff, just really creepily
and really quietly, wispy.
Yeah,
that makes me wonder, what about the ghosts way back when Senshi made the multicultural holy water thing? Were those ghosts just trying to help?
Non-denominational multicultural
I think it was
holy water.
I think it's just the ghosts on that level.
Only the ones on that floor that are just friendly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's what I don't remember her name, the orc princess.
I don't remember her name either. Yeah, she said
think she said that the ghosts on that level are harmless and they generally try to help people.
They still got some sense left in them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes me wonder though if the ones in the above floors did actually say anything in the middle of all that wispy fucking scariness. I'm not gonna go back and.
I would have to. Yeah, I would have to go back and watch it.
But episode 15, Senshi's entire internal monologue, where he's like, "I must feed the youngins."
Yes. Oh, I can't. I watched the entire like second half. And I don't remember if we got Senshi's backstory in this one or later.
I don't think we got Senshi's backstory.
Okay.
We did get a really fucking disgusting fight with a bunch of dryads though that was like hellish.
Yes, the ultimate evil pollen.
Pollen. I love
pollen that you are allergic to, period.
Yeah, I love that they're just like they overcomplicate like explaining allergies.
Oh yeah.
It's not just it's not like some horrible like special pollen that kills you. It's just allergies.
It's just hay fever.
Hay fever, baby. I didn't know what that was before that point. I'd heard the word, but never known anything about it.
That was also the episode where Laios learns healing magic.
Yes.
And then passes out.
Yeah. And then starts hearing all of the spirits talking to him.
Yep.
But I think that my favorite takeaway from episode 15 was the don't ever use a person as a pickling weight.
I
thought she was about to make some kind of like deep emotional revelation. She's like, I have to tell them before I commend them on what they've done. I have to tell them this ultimate truth. Don't use people. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Don't use a person as a pickling weight.
Also them trying to get her in the right position before she turns to stone and her just getting pissed off at the last second and fucking it up.
She's like, I thought this was a way to stop turning to stone. No, it's a way to make it less terrible. Oh, okay. All right.
Is that the episode where they ate the friggin' brick?
No, that was 16.
Okay.
Was the whole thing where they're like, if we need to hide, we go in the wall. And I was like, oh, the animation when Laios's face went through the wall, like it like changed styles.
Yeah.
But then the whole thing about dungeons heal themselves? Question mark.
Yeah, the dungeon cleaners.
Yeah.
I get.
They're dungeon cleaners that are like these little tiny organisms that go around fixing damage.
And that's an aspect of this show with the whole ecosystem thing that, due to suspension of disbelief, I had never even once considered that a dungeon wouldn't just be there forever.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know.
Like,
it makes sense.
I love that this show just kind of like comes up with explanations for things that you would just take for granted in other fantasy settings.
Or that they would write off as video game.
Yeah. Oh, the dungeon fixed itself. Oh, that's magic.
Just like the whole suit of armor thing, they were saying it was, they were taught it was just magic, and then it's like, nope, mollusk. They're like clams.
Yeah. That was also the episode where they're like, we need to move on to the next floor, and like while everyone else is getting ready, Marcel thinks they mean putting on the frog suit. And they're like, no, we think the tentacles are gone. You should be fine. And she's like, okay. And my first thought was, that was a whole plot point that like she only brought 2 sets of clothing, and the frog suit coagulated on her last set of clothing, ruining them. So now she only has 1 set of clothing. So I'm like, why is she so willing to get right back in the frog suit? Like, isn't that just gonna ruin her clothes again?
She likes the frog suit.
Maybe since it's not fresh anymore, it can't ruin her clothes.
Yeah, maybe it dried or something. But
crispy frog skin.
Yeah. But then there's
I like how they're still bringing those around.
Yup.
Got an anti-friggin' poison suit. I guess I'm keeping it.
Yeah, I guess. Though, like, that was the one where you saw when they were making the meal, Senshi showed how, like, socially aware he can be when food is concerned. Like, with the whole thing with, like, where like, the food is, and it's like, well, I just want, and when what's-her-name's like, I just want Master Shuro to, like, not push himself and not be doing all this, and his heart's been stolen by this northern girl, and when he's like, well, he always ate everything you cooked before, and the thing that you added that made him eat was a little ingredient called love.
Friggin'
yeah,
Senshi.
I mean, Senshi's not like Laios level of like doesn't understand social cues. He's just kind of sheltered because he's lived in the dungeon for most of his life.
Yeah, he's just a hermit.
Yeah. So it's not that he's like socially inept, it's just that he isn't really used to socializing.
Which that reminds me of, like, I saw a clip from like one of the last things we did before that was talking about actually, I think it was from this one where, like, because there are like clips of stuff on YouTube or whatever. But before we watched this, I had seen a clip of after the Dryad fight when Senshi goes to talk to Chilchuck, and someone said in the comments of the clip, they're like, "It will never not be funny that a hermit is giving a birds and the bees talk to a divorced father of 3."
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I love that he still just refers to him as a kid. I love that.
And that's how we know that which one of the doppelgangers Senshi like came from Senshi for Chilchuk, because he's a little child.
Amazing.
Yeah. Though, like, okay, the whole thing with the doppelgangers. Gonna kind of play devil's advocate here, but I feel like because each doppelganger is made from someone else's image of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that could be an amazing team building exercise if they could ever tame that doppelganger beast.
Yeah.
To be like, you just take a team in there and you just meet the versions of yourself that live in your teammates' heads.
I just love that all the doppelgangers are peaceful up until like they get into an actual fight, until they think there's a threat. And, you know, obviously until they've been there long enough, then they eat the original, but, you know. I love the version of Marcel that's just like that long-faced, like stereotypical elf-looking character. Like
Yes.
a Tolkien fantasy elf. I love that one.
Though, how that episode resolved with, like, Laios, like, going into dog mode.
Oh my god.
And he's like, dog, I have always been with dogs. They have been some of my best friends and helped me through all of this stuff. I will show what I have learned. And he just starts barking at the darkness. And the thing reveals itself and it works. And then he's like, yes, I must show it that it's he who flinches that loses. And he's leaping at it. And then Marcel is just like, boom. Blows up its head.
Sorry, I got too.
I got too in character.
I love Laios. That dude's wacky.
Though, speaking of Laios being silly, in episode 17, the whole thing whenever the harpies attacked and you see what Fallon has become, right?
Yeah.
Laios' reaction. Don't you think you got a little too greedy? You have wings, talons, and scales now. And I'm like, Laios, why are you like this? He was like, people were dying, and he's still just like, that's a really cool monster.
That's a cool monster. I liked the design of the shapeshifter monster.
It was like kind of like a foxy creature.
Yeah, it was like a kitsune.
Mm-hmm.
Nine-tailed fox. I mean, the only really other thing I've got going here is trying to figure out what the heck Kabaru is. Like I get he's obviously, you know, who he is, kinda.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm sitting there like, is this dude like, he's giving me Paladin vibes, but he's also like a wacko. So I don't know.
Yeah.
He's like very singular minded about a goal.
Yeah.
And his team is just like getting dragged along for the ride.
Yeah, they're just there for it. It's like he's the main character in their party, and the rest of them just don't matter.
And like when the half foot in their party talked about Chilchuk and like how I think it was a girl, she was describing where like Chilchuk says if you make a contract, put it through the guild so that way he can get a commission, and painting him and the guild as the bad guys, and then saying how she went outside of that in order to essentially set up a slave contract with a kobold.
He's actually a boy.
Oh, a boy? Okay.
Yeah.
I like
his
that.
His name's
kobold.
Mick Bell.
I like that.
And Kuro. Kuro is the kobold.
Kuro is the kobold. Okay.
It's cool kobold. I like that.
Yeah.
Also, what, they second class citizens or what? What's the deal with that?
Yeah, so kobolds kind of like they kind of end up like living in tribal societies in kind of like the fringes of civilization. They're not really considered like threats, but they're also not really considered like entirely people. It's also it's interesting because like Kuro tends to sort of speak in like broken sentences, and very like simple language, but later on in the manga he has a conversation with another character in Kobold, and he's actually like very articulate. And it's just because like, oh, he has a hard time speaking like the common tongue.
That reminds me of like, there was this this show I watched when I was younger. It was some kind of like a soap opera drama show, and there was one character who like was bilingual, but like English was her second language. And like there was a thing where like there was one episode where people kept like treating her bad, not treating her bad, but kind of laughing at her broken English. And she has a line where she says, "You have no idea how smart I am in Spanish."
Yeah. But yeah, Mikbel and Kuro's relationship is interesting because like on the surface it seems kind of like Mikbel is like taking advantage of Kuro and like cuz he pays him in food rather than an actual wage. But like it's shown that they actually care about each other and that they're actually like good friends.
You know,
and so it's not actually as like exploitative as a relationship as you might think.
In that fight with Fallon, Kuro would have been fine if he just let go.
Yeah.
If he hadn't kept holding on with his mouth the whole time, just biting, he would have been perfectly fine, but he just went pure dog mode.
I did like that it was very interesting when they were like, we can only heal X number of people. So they like healed Shuro's healer, and they were like, well, we know you have healing magic, so we're hoping that you could be helpful to help us with reviving people. And like nobody wanted to let Marcel help with the healing.
Yeah.
Because they were like, no, and Marcel's like, I'm just gonna use a regular healing spell.
And they're like, no, you used black magic before. We can't trust you anymore.
They're tainted.
The ending of that fight, when Kabru like sneaks up and stabs her and like slits her throat, is fucking brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty hardcore.
Like it makes you feel
and then it didn't work.
Nope.
Like with how intelligent Kabru is, right? And how like investigative Kabru is, it makes you feel like even though he walks around in like knight's armor, in like heavy armor, and uses a sword and does all that other stuff, it makes you feel like he's almost something like more roguish, because he seems to be even more deadly with a dagger than he is with his sword.
Right.
He does kind of seem to have like a whole targeted attacking thing. He doesn't just swing a sword around as far as we've seen, really.
Mm-hmm.
Right. He's very tactical.
And I'm very glad they did something with his character, because I was worried when he was introduced that he was just going to be the character that they find on the side of the road every time.
Yeah.
But like they actually developed his character and showed how bizarre he can be in his own way. Like the whole bit that threw me for a loop when he was like, when they're like, here are monster meals, and he's like, that's so cool. And it fooled me for a second. I was like, oh, I guess he likes monster meals. Okay. And then like a few episodes later, it's like, no, he's been faking it this entire time. Then I felt betrayed for Laios.
Yeah.
He has got dedication, though. He went for it.
Oh yeah.
I really don't see the problem personally. I'd be right there with Laios. As long as it ain't
Yeah,
humanoid.
I think well, I think
Harpy eggs might be a little weird.
I think my only problem would be like if it still looks like a monster when you eat it.
Hmm.
Like eat
Cuz like that's my one problem with like
shrimp.
eating meat. Yeah. With like yeah, shrimp.
Yeah, where they keep the faces
I
on.
mean, even if I wasn't allergic to shrimp, which I am, I would still be like, "Oh, that still looks like a shrimp." Or like crab or lobster.
Hmm.
Yeah, that used to bother me a lot, but and it's weird because I was vegan for like a couple years, but that's I don't know. It just for some reason I got real deep down the rabbit hole before, and then I went vegan, and afterwards I'm like, okay, I still have now I have no problem eating anything that has a face. That doesn't even
Uh-huh.
faze me. It's weird. I don't know what
Yeah,
happened.
it's it's like I've never been somewhere where they were serving like a whole roast pig, but that would probably be too much for me, I think.
Hmm.
Or I've also never had the like at Chinese places when they serve duck with the head still on.
Oh
Like
goodness.
that wouldn't I wouldn't like that either. Like a rotisserie chicken is about as similar as I'm willing to get.
Kind of want one of those ducks. I'm not gonna lie. Where do we think? I guess me and Orion here, because Allie's are seen ahead. Where do we think this is gonna be going?
So I have Googled some things and like read some Wikipedia entries because like when I was first getting involved, I was like I didn't want to get like emotionally attached to this series if it was gonna go a certain way. Um so like I know certain things about the future, but I don't know like the direction of how it ends. My theory that I don't have proof for is that Laios becomes the new king of the dungeon. That because they're setting up Laios as like this person like they've had these two characters specifically tell Laios or at least have in their mental thoughts that like they don't think Laios would make a good king of the dungeon, and most of the time their reasonings are relatively shallow, and Laios has kind of maybe not proven them wrong, but demonstrated how irrelevant some of their logic has been because of his actions and his dedication to doing the right thing and taking care of his friends. Um, so that is where I think it is going to go eventually.
I think that's a good assessment of the plot so far.
I think having he's learning a bit of magic.
Mm-hmm.
The guy who the mad air quotes mad mage that runs the dungeon is using this fancy old school magic. The person who taught him a bit of magic also knows that ancient magic. And I'm not calling it black magic. It's not happening. And and so I'm sitting here thinking it doesn't seem like a stretch that Laios would also learn how to do that ancient magic stuff because while he was taken aback as everyone else was when that whole resurrection thing happened, he didn't seem to have the same reaction during or after as compared to just normal people do to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see him becoming some sort of ancient magic knight guy who runs the dungeon and probably has some sort of crazy restaurant going on. I don't know.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
Oh my gosh. Laios runs the dungeon, and then instead of having people delving for treasure, people it becomes kind of a bring your own ingredient restaurant. People travel through the dungeon not to find treasure, but to find monsters that they bring to the restaurant and then have Senshi cook up for them.
It's like a Korean barbecue, but you bring your own meat.
Yeah.
I love that idea.
What do you think? Do you have any guesses about the new character?
I don't know, because like when they were interacting,
she's a mystery.
Yeah, when they were interacting before, Shu's party had been like treating them poorly. Had been like, you wait over there, you do this, you do that, and like referring to them in like this kind of almost degrading manner, right? And like when they found out,
they were calling her Asabi.
And whenever they were going to leave and they're like, she's not here, they didn't even pause. They like didn't even miss a beat. They're just like, whatever. She'll take care of herself.
I was a little disappointed when the hood came down that it wasn't like a full blown cat person. That's just like Neko.
Well,
that might not always be the case. It might be some sort of transform with it, but you know, I was just a little disappointment there. I thought I was gonna get more cat.
She doesn't have a cat face.
Yeah. I thought I was gonna get more cat out of the cat.
But she does. She is covered in fur.
Okay, that's a weird design
and has
choice.
a tail.
Kind of a weird design choice.
She also has claws, which is obvious from the end of that episode.
Yeah, I'm also.
I'm reminded of Teletubbies. That's what I'm getting. Teletubby vibes. All fur, blank face though, just skin on the face.
Oh my gosh. I'm curious as to what her intentions are, because like she is some kind of cat person. She has been getting mistreated essentially by her party. She left the party to stay behind with Laios's group, and she watches them struggle with. She obviously was watching them struggle with the doppelgangers, right? And then like at the end, she doesn't introduce herself. She doesn't walk up and say hi. She doesn't like do anything. She instantly takes the offensive and is like, I'm taking a hostage. You need to do what I say or else. And it's like, I'm wondering, is she some kind of a person who is like ostracized and is used to being is used to being treated poorly, and is preemptively expecting them to react poorly to her, and so she's like, okay, they're going to treat me poorly, so I'm going to get the jump, and I'm going to put myself in a position of power where they have to work with me.
Right. I think that's a good assessment.
I want this. We're going to be friends or else. Very cat-like behavior.
But I think it'll be interesting if that is the case, right? To see, because I fully expect Laios for like that in like if there is some kind of like a social hierarchy or social queue where like cat people are like looked down upon or anything, I fully expect all of that to just fly right over Laios' head.
Yeah.
And for Laios to be like, oh, you have claws. That's really cool.
When you eat, does your fur get in your food? That must be unfortunate. Is that sad?
And like the whole thing with like she's taken a hostage, Laios be like, "Oh, cool, you've got ears."
When it comes to the cat lady, I don't know. Could be fine. I'm not expecting much. I don't know enough about the character to think through it at all, really.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, it'll be interesting to see how group dynamics change.
Yeah, I'm wondering, like, the way you're describing her makes it sound like she's going to become a main character and join the main four.
Yeah, she does.
Okay. So that'll be interesting to see how the dynamics work when they go from 4 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my gosh, I just had a thought.
Mm-hmm.
What if Senshi is like culturally insensitive because of being a hermit and is like, "You're a cat person, I must make you fish."
Oh. Oh man, there's gonna be some jokes. There's gonna be some jokes. Oh, okay. Okay.
I will say that Senshi does like take a liking to her. And there's a lot of fan art of him kind of like becoming a surrogate father.
Aw.
Cool.
But we'll definitely see some of that even in the next episode.
Okay.
Yeah, since she's my man, she can't handle.
It's definitely not like romantic shipping. It's more parent shipping.
That's nice anyway. That's a sweet way to do that type of thing. Versus what can be weird and creepy oftentimes.
Yeah. She is canonically a teenager. So
okay.
As if that stopped any anime shipping ever. Not even just anime, any shipping ever.
Oh gosh.
Anyway, yeah, that's about all I got.
Yeah, we're at about time. So yeah, I think it's pretty obvious that we're going to do the next set of episodes next. So
God, I need something to watch. I've been watching some dumb shit just because I've got nothing to watch.
Yeah, I've been rewatching The Expanse, and that's about it.
I liked the first couple seasons of that. After that, when they go through the portal or whatever, spoiler people. After saying the spoiler, my bad. But either way, I feel like the show falls off quite a bit after that. I liked fancy gun battles without shields and with projectile weapons.
Yeah.
Look, in some ways I am a stereotypical cis man, just saying. Me like big violence.
Oh goodness.
All right, Orion, where
Hello.
can people find you?
You can find me on Orian Senshi on YouTube and on Twitch. OrianSenshi. I stream Mondays and Fridays starting at 8:30 p.m. EST. I do writing streams, gaming streams, game development, TTRPG streams, and some also different types of TTRPG rule exploration streams, and a variety of other content. But those are the main things that I do. And also, I've recently started playing Honkai Star Rail, which has been a fun little endeavor thing to pick up.
Sounds good. Chris, do you have social media yet?
You can find me at 102.29 The Bear, where we whisper drama and secrets about our lives from the bear's fur. See you there.
Oh goodness gravy.
You know where I am. I'm right here on this channel.
Bye.
All right.